Yeah, we'll start in 2 minutes. Okay, let me share my screen. 1 second, and I have started the recording. Okay. So yesterday we talked about variables. We talked about type conversion. We talked about indentation. Today we'll talk about basic input and output. We'll talk about Python operators, and we'll also talk about flow control. Okay. So let me mute this. Okay, 1 second. Okay. So basically, when you're talking about input and output, what does it mean? Let's say you are using a print function, right? So that is basically to print the output. Okay, that is basically to print the output. Okay, and so let's say this is print, right? Yes. Okay, Saran, if you do not have any question, please mute yourself. Yes. Okay, so you just go here. Okay, okay, here's, you see here. 1 second. Yeah, you see here, right, what this is showing. You can see this is a function. Okay, it's showing print the values to a stream to sys.std out by default, so it is printing on the screen, right? Okay, it is showing, first thing what is showing, values object, that means values to be printed. Okay, and then you showing separator string, that means it will separate the multiple objects inside the print function. Okay, so separator string you see, and then you see end string. Okay, this separator and end, these are optionals. The end that you see, right, it will allow you to add any specific values, right? Let's say you want to go the next output to a new line, so \n, for a tab \t, these things you can give, right? Okay, and then you have this flush and all these things, file, right? File supports write string, right? So file, so this is also optional. So here values will be printed, right? So here basically we are telling that the values will be printed to the screen, sys.std out.
Hey Dayal.
Yeah.
Here, can you give some more description? Actually, I am not able to understand what all those things are. Like, if I'm going to select highlighting print there, I get values, object, separator, string.
Okay. So this is basically print. Is this? Yeah, print is basically a function. Here I'm showing how it is defined, like how what are the parameters it takes. That's what I'm showing here, like syntax of the print. I'm showing the syntax of the print function. Okay, I'll come to this later when I discuss about functions. Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, so you already know how to use the print function, right? But you don't know like how to use a separator. Okay, so let me just show you. Let's say these things you'll mostly use when you have some data and you want to, let's say you got the data of a volume, right? You want to separate by let's say comma or some other syntax, right? So in those cases it will be handy. Okay, so let's say volume 1, you get some data like this, volume 1, Okay, and let's say you got like this 30 GB, 35 GB, something like this, right? Okay, and let's say you want to do it in separate way. Let's say you want to separate these values. Okay, here this is basically a integer, so it's a string, right? So here, so basically let's say you want to separate this value. Okay, let's say you want to separate this value by colon. Okay, so you can do like this. Okay, you have to use the separate, this is argument. So this is basically print whatever you see, right? So Python is basically an object oriented programming. So everything that you see here, right, this is basically classes, and printer, all other things are basically methods or functions of a class. Okay, so, and the function, it will take parameters. So these are the parameters, right? So I'm printing this thing, and let's say I want to separate the value that I'm printing, right, volume 1 and 32 GB, 35 GB, using this separator keyword, right? So it will basically use the colon in between. So if I execute this, you see here, this is what I got, right? I'll discuss about this. I was actually explaining to you, so but it because I have to progress, properly. So what I'm going to do, once I start the functions, then I'll discuss more about this. Okay, this function is basically inbuilt function. We have not created this function. You can also create your own functions by using the def keyword, but these are basically your inbuilt functions. This is Python has created these functions. Okay, let me show you how to format some, but these are the things are very important. The formatting is very important. Let's say you have a value. Yeah.
So there are this one for separator. Let's say you given a colon, right? So any other symbol we can give, right?
Anything you can give anything. Yeah, you can provide anything.
Red, underscore, all these things, right?
Yeah, you can provide anything. It will work. Okay. This is a separator one. This is a separator value. That's it. It is separate the strings using this value. Using this word. Okay. Now let's say.
But what cases we use this separator?
Yeah, maybe I'll tell you one thing. Sometimes when you get the health check reports, sometimes when you get lot of things, right, and you want to use them in a separator field. Okay, you want to create row, column, you want to separate them using space or something, then you can use this, especially to format the health check reports. Okay.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So basically what we do normally is we'll get the things whatever we think we get in Python, for native, right? We have to get it in JSON format, and then we have to basically transform that format into CSV file, rows and columns, and then from rows and columns, when you have the Excel file, you can create your bar graphs or other things to represent your management. Okay. So let me show you one more thing, that is, this is very important. This is output formatting. So let's say you want to basically look something very user friendly or like human readable, right? So let me show you one thing. Okay, let's say you have two integer variables, x and y. Okay, or let me say 5, something like this. Okay, you want to print this value, okay, in proper way. Okay, like you want to use a sentence like print. You're using string, right? So the value of x is, you can use this one, parenthesis, not parenthesis, second bracket. Okay, x is this, comma, y is, these are called placeholders. These are all placeholders. Okay, in Python you call it placeholders. Okay, and you have given it you need to close. See, whenever you are starting with single quote or double quote, you have to close with your quotes, right? You cannot just make it empty. Okay, so format. Okay, and then you want to give x and y. So what it will basically do is you have to close the thing. Okay, so what, okay, anyway, let me check print. Okay, here I have given this. Okay, now it's okay. One second. Format, and then x comma y, and then this is this one. Okay, so here what I'm doing, I'm giving the value of x is this, y is this. So it will basically this for dot format dot xy, right? This curly braces that you see, right? This is this curly brace that you see, right? So this is working as a placeholder. So we can specify any order. You can specify y is this, x is this. It's not a problem. Okay. Okay, and here what you're doing, so we'll talk about data types, but you just remember the information that will be printed, right? It will be printed as per tuple. Tuple is basically a data type which is immutable data type, means whatever things are there, it cannot be changed, right? So let me show this. Okay, if I execute this, I can clear this thing, clear. Okay, and let me execute this. So you're getting this thing, right? And if you want to take the variable by going to the variable explorer, you see this x and y. Okay, I'm not getting this. 1 second. Let me minimize this. Okay, you see x and y, 10 and 5, right? This is a variable explorer. So you get this with this spider id, you get this. Okay, and let me go to the files. Okay, so now you see this, the value of x is 10, y is 5. Yeah, any question?
Yeah, one thing here. Yes, this format x and y, why it is not printed? Here it is given the value of x is that is correct. But
Yeah.
why this till the colon it is printed? Okay. That format x and y it is not printed.
Because this format is basically a method. Okay, it's a method. So in Python, let's say when you're giving print type of this, do you think type is printed? Yesterday we saw, right? Let me show you. Type of x. Do you think type of x this will be printed? What will be printed here? It will
No.
print an integer, right?
No. Yes.
It will print an integer, right? Not so. This is a method
Okay.
basically. Method. This is a method. You can think of it like function, but it's actually function means when you define functions inside a class, it's called as method. Okay, so these are basically inbuilt methods, Python methods, inbuilt method. We have not created this. This for formatting. You can see here, formatting. Okay, you can just give the help and formatting. It will give you more details on it. Yeah.
So is it just format or dot format?
It's a format only, but when you want to say this, you have to give dot format. It's basically string dot format. You have to give the string value and then dot format. This is what you have to give. str dot format.
Okay, and that placeholder has to be that flower bracket only, or anything?
No. Only curly braces. No other things. You cannot give first bracket, fourth bracket. No. Only curly braces. Nothing else will work.
Okay.
So this is output formatting. We'll be using this. Okay. This thing will be using very extensively. Okay. And let's say, let's say you want to give some keyboard input. Okay. Then how do you do this? So let me just. I'll not delete this. I'll just make it comment out. Okay. So you can use this idea. This is yeah.
Just a query. What is this placeholder?
The placeholder is variable placeholder. The value of the variable. It's holding the value of the variable. Okay. This is called placeholder.
Okay, so that it means it's something like keeping that value into memory.
Yeah, you can say that. Yes. Keeping the value into memory.
Okay. Yeah. And that placeholder should be defined by curly braces only.
Only curly braces, yes. No first bracket, fourth bracket, anything. Only curly braces.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Then recording is started.
Yeah, recording is going on. Yeah, it's going on. I started it. Yeah. Okay. So now let's say, please mute yourself. Okay, there is some background noise. Yeah. So let's say you want to take input from the user, right? Let's say you want to take input from your keyboard, right? Then you have another function, built-in function that you can use, which is input function. Okay. Let's say you have to give like student equal to, let's say you have to use the input function, and inside the input function you have to give your like your argument, right? So let's say enter a name. Okay, enter a name and colon, you can give like this, space, that's fine. Okay, and then what you can do, we can print the student, right? Print stud. Okay, start. So let me execute this. So enter a name, let's say Rideep. Okay, you see you got the Rideep, right? So you are getting you're able to give user input. Okay, so you're using this input function to take the input from the user. Okay, and whatever things you're entering in the keyboard, right, that is getting stored in this start variable. Okay, and then you are printing it out. Okay, so now here this is a string that I've given, right? You can give anything else. So see, by default, I don't know whether I talked about or not, by default the data type that Python uses, if it's not able to define it, right, then it will always be a string. Okay, by default it will always be string. Okay, if you want to convert that input into a integer float, you can also use this. How do you do that? It's very easy. Okay, so you can do this like this, input, and then you have integer. Okay, you can give, okay, enter a number, because integer value name cannot be integer, right? So here let's say n or something. Okay, enter a number, just little bit, one second. Okay, yeah, now here if I execute this, it will throw me an error, right, because start is not defined. Let me show that error. Okay, you see value error, right, because start is not defined. Okay, start is not defined. Go here, yeah, it is not defined, right? So you have to give nm. Okay, there is a process like step, I'll show later. So you can step by step you can debug. Okay, you have this debugger, right? You can do that. So you just enter this. One second, I'm getting a value error. One second. What is happening? Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is a big mistake I did. So what you're doing is input, right? Input. So let's say you're getting number, like enter number, enter a number, and then what you want to do, you want to typecast it. You want to cast it to, like, you want it to be an integer. So integer you have to give, right? Okay, and then if you execute this, you give a number like 56, right, something like this. Okay, if you want to become a float, you can also give a float number by using here float. Okay, instead of integer you can put it like float, and you have to use parentheses, sparingly, and then you just execute this, run this. 6.9, you got 6.9. okay, even if you don't get 6.9, right, let's say you give 56 only, you get 56.0. okay, because it is actually converting this to a float. Okay, because I'm using here, what I'm using a float function, right? This is a float, you can see here, float. Okay, this input function I'm using a float, right? So you can typecast this. Okay, so depending on whatever your output is there, you want to, let's say, you want to subtract your total space minus used space to become the available space, right? So in that case, let's say total space is integer, used space is float, then you have to make, you have to, the result will be float, right? You want to change something, you can typecast it. Okay, this is just integer thing, like this is just input thing. So you are giving the input, user input, so you're giving the input, you're using the input function, or actually input method, and then you are typecasting to float, right? So this is what you're doing. Okay, so now we'll talk about, I hope you understand dot format, right? Dot format is very important because we'll be using it many times. Dot format. Okay, anybody asking something? Not sure, somebody ping something.
So these all are in the dot format, yeah?
No. One second, where am I? Yeah, dot format is means this one. These are not dot format. These are different functions. Dot format I use for the placeholder. Let's say I want to describe something. I want to print something or show something in meaningful, like in human readable way. Then I'll be using dot format. It's not like I'll be using dot format here. This is different thing. I'm using input function to give user input from the keyboard, and then I'm doing typecasting of float. Okay, so that whatever input I'm giving, it will become a float. It will print out as a float, like dot. Decimal mark will be there.
So dot format will be used in, like, we have this CSV file or something on that time, right?
No, no,
Can
no,
you s-
no, no, no. Dot
that
format
about
is basically no, no. Dot format is basically to print out something, to print out something. Like if you want to print out a meaningfully, right? Like let's say you collected all the informations, and then you'll print out. You let's say you collected informations about all the volumes, all the aggregates, and usage. You want to print out like the aggregate which is close more than 90% full, right? So you mention print function, and then the aggregate which is more than 90% full, then you give this, and then you give this and then give the aggregate name, right? This placeholder, or the volumes in this aggregate are full. You are just trying to show a meaningful thing, so you are using dot format, nothing else. For CSV file, we use Jinja 2 templating to convert that to CSV file, which we'll talk about later. That is a different thing. Not using dot format. We don't create CSV file using dot format. No, that is not possible. It's just a single line. You're using strings with you're just formatting the string. That's it. Nothing else. So let me just.
Sure, sure.
It's very easy. See, Python is very easy. You you don't have to be a very you don't have to be a developer. You just need to know basic things. But oops concept is very important. You just need to know basic things of Python, Ansible, and later Terraform, and then you're good. Okay, it's very easy. I don't have to remember each and everything. Okay. Now we'll talk about Python.
may I have few more example of this format?
Okay. Let's say Siva. There are some names which I remember, right? Some names I don't remember. Yeah. Rideep. Siva was a very good developer. I mean, very good automation specialist. He's working in, I think, TCS. Okay. So anyway, so no, again it will overwrite it. Student 2. Okay. So I got two students. So okay. Let me think in logic. Okay, so student, one second, this is a, I can give double quotes also. Okay, student is like this. Okay, eto better than start to. Okay, we can just better than this. Okay, you just give this. Okay, no need to give student is you need to give. So this is better than this. Okay, just give this. Okay, and then what you do, you just use dot format, not here. Dot format, and use your arguments. See, arguments key args, there is a difference. So when you see dot args, right, it means it can take multiple variables, multiple arguments. And when you see star key args, means it is basically a dictionary. Okay, I'll talk about this. Means it will take key value pairs. Okay, I'll talk about this. This is very important because we use this in our Python native automation. Okay, so you can do native automation or any kind of storage automation using many tools: Python, PowerShell, Ansible, many tools. Okay, shell scripting. But Python and Ansible is easy. PowerShell is not good. Okay, I don't like PowerShell. Python in Ansible is very easy. Okay, if you do not have any Ansible support for any of your storage vendors, you can go with Python. So dot format, what I have start, okay, or maybe start 2 comma start. Okay, enter. You just print out here, you'll see really better than Siva. Okay, so like this, you don't even have to mention this, you just placeholder like. So whatever thing you are giving here, if I give start first, then it will come Siva. Okay, so like this, very easy. Now let us talk about Python operators. Okay, Python operators. So you already know, you have already talked, you have already studied these operators when you studied letter C, right? in BCA, BSc or engineering, you probably have studied latest C of Jashwant Kanetkar. Okay, so what kind of operators you have? These operators are there in every programming languages. Okay, so you have arithmetic. Okay, you have assignment operator, you assign some values to it. Okay, you have comparison operator, like you compare like greater than equal to, less than equal to. Okay, so comparison. You have comparison operator. You have logical operator. Logical operator means XOR, XNOR. Okay, these are all logical. One second. Logical operator, I don't know what local came, but this logical operator. Okay, and you also have something like bitwise operator. I don't use it. Okay, we're not going to use it. Okay, so let us talk about one by one. Okay, so when you talk about operators, arithmetic operators, you know arithmetic operation, right? Plus, minus, okay, multiplication, subtraction, okay, and then you have division, like modulo. This is very important, modulo. Okay, modulo is something like, let's say you divided 7 by 2, then what is the modulo you get? Modulo means the remainder, right? So you got 1. Okay, so this is the modulo got, right? And you also have floor division. Okay, floor division means, let's see, you are dividing 10 or 13 divided by 3, right? So what floor division you'll get? This one floor division you'll basically get 3. Okay, so it's just basically do a flooring value, right? You have in NetApp, you have ceiling, you have floor. In the QS, quality of service, right? Ceiling value means, let's say you have a volume, you want to put like maximum IOs this one, that's a ceiling value. You have to give minimum IOs this one, so that's a floor value. Okay, so here the floor division means just you are dividing 10 by 3, and 3 into 3 equal to like 9, right? So you're getting 3. Okay, and you also have this power, to the power. Okay, so 2 to the power 2 is 4. Okay, so these kind of things you already know, right? So let me give you just one or more. Yeah.
That I didn't get, like 10 divided by 3. That one, what is that?
Floor division.
Can I just repeat? Right.
Floor division. You don't record this. You don't record this in NetApp automation. It's just normal operator. Floor division means even if you have remainder, you're just taking the division value. It's
Okay,
just
okay.
making it an integer, not a float.
Got it.
Okay, so in my project I got a serious issue. Okay, so I started the HCP migration, and it's very slow. Like 11 days, it's only went up to like 10%. So I got like 187 million objects to be replicated. So in HCP you have object, like you have your metadata replication and data replication. So metadata is basically not getting replicated quickly, and even data also. And we don't have load balancer. And initially what we did, we bought that O12 nodes. Okay, so rebalancing also we, like, the vendor did not do. So we had a lot of problems happening. Even in weekends also, I'm just following with up. I'm just running the rebalance script. And garbage collection, there is a concept there. So have anyone worked on Hitachi? Okay, no one has worked on Hitachi.
Yes,
Which
yes.
product?
Okay. So have you worked on HCP Hitachi content platform?
Yes.
Okay. Have you done migration?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get any problem? Any slowness?
No, not much.
I got it, because here what is happening, we have G10 is connected to the S11. G10 is the front end, S11 is the back end, and we are migrating from G10 to O12 nodes, and the S11 is on an outdated version. So Hitachi vendor, they made a crappy decision. They did not update it, the S11. Now getting a lot of issues. So anyway, let us discuss about this thing, more about this thing, right? So let's say you have A. Okay, A equal to 90, B equal to 89. Okay, I'm just showing you this. So you want to do addition. Okay, so Y equal to A plus B. Okay, and you can print Y. Okay, so it will give you 80, this one, right? So it is basically addition. This is arithmetic operator. Similar to that, you can do subtraction, you can do multiplication, division, floor division, modulo, to the power. You can do all these things. These are same thing. Okay, And the next thing we'll discuss about is assignment operator. Okay, so here what you see, a equal to 90. So what you are doing here, we are assigning the value of 90 to a variable, right? So here this is basically assignment operator. Okay, so there are many assignment operators. Okay, so you have this one, okay, which is assignment operator equal to, okay, and then you have basically you want to have this, so this one you already know, right? So if you make something like this, a plus equal to 1 means a equal to a plus 1. It means, let me show you. Okay, so if you see, if you say this, right, so this equals to a equal to a plus 1. Okay, sometimes we use this kind of things in loops. Okay, and if you do the similar thing with minus equal to, it becomes a minus equal to a equal to a minus 1. Okay, so like this. Okay, so you can do these things here. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so let's say x equal to, no, a plus equal to, let's say 1. Okay, and then you print a. Okay, I'm just showing this is very basic. Here I have hashed it, right? I have commented out, so I'll just comment it here. That's why it was not defined. So you can see 91. Okay, it's coming 90 plus 1, 91, equal to a plus 1. That's what is happening, right? This is 91. You don't have to know all the assignment operator. It's very easy, addition and all these things. All the assignment operator, like this is assignment, then additional assignment, this is basically addition assignment. If you want to do subtraction assignment, then this is this. Okay, 1 second. Minus. Okay, you just execute this, you'll get 89. Okay, so this is basically a subtraction assignment. You want to do multiplication assignment, then this is this. Okay, it will do this. Okay, 90 into 1, which is basically 90 only. So you could do this 180. Okay, so like this you have. Okay, these are all assignment operators. So this one, a into 2, it become means a equal to a into a multiply 2. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, now the next thing we'll talk about is comparison operator. Okay, so let me just command a, command x. Okay, so a equal to 5, b equal to 7. Okay, that's it. So we know that a is greater than b, right? So what I'm going to do is, I can use a for loop. Okay, or I can just use a print function. Okay, print function a greater than b. So if I do this, right, what would happen? Any idea what would happen? A is not greater than b, right? So it will become false, right? It's become false. So whenever you are comparing something, you are comparing, see, you are able to compare a with b because a variable is having some data and b variable is having some data. You are comparing the data, right? So here this is a false thing, so this is translating into a false boolean value. So this is a boolean value. Okay, and if you give less than, then obviously it's true, and then you'll get true. Okay, the boolean value true. Okay, so here we are using the comparison operator to compare these two values of variables, right, with each other, and it is returning the boolean result, true or false. Okay, so there are many comparison operators are there. Okay,
So what is output in this case?
the
Like
output
if I
is
run this,
true. Output is true.
print operator.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's basically a boolean
Print.
value. So whether it's true or false, it's
Yep.
basically a boolean value. I can make it in some different way also. Let's say if a greater than b. Okay, I have to use 4 spaces as per the PPA standard. 1 2 3 4. Okay, print a is bigger. Okay, Okay, but this will not happen, right? Let me just change it. Okay, 9. Okay, enter. A is bigger, right? So because A is greater than B, so that's why this translates to a true Boolean value, and that's the reason it's going inside the if block and it's printing out this. And if it is wrong, then it will not print out anything. Okay.
And if you want to print that number itself, like A is bigger, like instead of that, like 9 is bigger.
You can do that. You just do like this. Okay, you can just use the placeholder if you want. Atho is bigger. Okay, and then here you just use dot format and give A. Okay, one second, I need to remove this. And then enter. Here it's I have to give 90. 1 second. 90. Enter. 90 is bigger, right? I can also put it like little bit of space to make it better. Okay, so and let's say you want to print something else, like let's say you want to print this and then you want to print something like let's say your function is ended, right? So ended, something like that. Okay, so both will be printed because this is outside of the loop, right? This is outside of the loop. So how the control is going? First the variable is getting assigned, the control is then here. Okay, and then once it is rendering into true, it's translating to true Boolean value, then it is going inside, the control is going inside the if loop. Okay, I mean if condition statement, and then it's printing out this data, and then it's going outside of the if statement, and then it is printing out this. If you put this here, if you put it like an else block, right, then it will not print. Okay, give 1 2 3 4.
One thing.
Yeah, it will not print.
So
it will only
in the
print this
seventh
one.
line,
Seventh line, yeah.
yeah, seventh line. If I put it format B, then also it will print the same thing, right? And
Yes.
it will
Yeah,
print,
yeah. It will also print the same thing. Yes, it will print 70 is bigger. Yeah, it will print that. Yeah. Yes. And you also have finally block, so which is like irrespective of what is getting executed, the finally block will always get executed. So we'll talk about this when we talk about condition statement, right? So right now what we are talking about, we are talking about the assignment operators. Okay, so we have this equal to assignment operator, you have not equal to, you already know about this. I don't find not, yeah, not equal to. Okay, so you are telling that volume not equal to 0, or maybe aggregate not greater than 90%, something like this. Okay, you have to think about some real-time scenario, but you still have to know this kind of this, because these are easy things. So greater than, less than, these are all easy things, right? Greater than, equal to, less than, equal to. Okay, so these are all comparison operators. Okay, fine. And then let us talk about logical operators. Okay, so logical operators is basically the one which will check if an expression is true or false. So you are basically using them for the decision making purpose. Okay, let's say you have control command A delete. Okay, so let's say a number A equal to 5, B equal to 6, something like this. Okay, and then you want to print if you have to put a condition which will basically take both N and V, right? So let's say like AND condition, OR condition. Okay, different kind of like logical AND, logical OR. Okay, so on AND condition, AND means A and B. Okay, and then OR condition, OR means A or B. Okay, AND means if both are correct, if this and this is correct, then only it will the output is basically true. And if OR means if one of these is correct, then it is true. Okay, and then you have logical NOT, so which is NOT operator. So like not A, so not A, let's say not A 100, something like this. I'm just giving an example. So this is, if this is a is not 100, then this will render into true. Okay, if this satisfied, like the operand is false, right, then it will actually translate into true value, boolean value. And if it is false, okay, so you have to like a not 100. If a is not 100, then it will be true, and if a is 100, then it will be false. It is the opposite one, because you are giving not a. Okay, so let me give you some examples. Okay, you have to use a lot of parentheses.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Not related to here, but just I want to know, like, means how we can access the, means in a Python model, how we can access our NetApp console or NetApp to run these commands and other things.
Yeah. So what you basically do is you have to install a Linux server. Unix server. It can be Red Hat, Linux, Fedora, anything. There you have to install some packages, Python, pip, lot of different packages are there. Your Python packages for NetApp. So those things you have to install, and you have to make sure it is reachable to NetApp cluster. Okay, because here what you are using, you are basically using the REST API. REST API to communicate to your NetApp cluster. Okay.
Okay.
So when you look into my class, right, I'll talk about this in a different session. You go to here, the channel session, right, and then you go here, switch account, and one second. Now this is difficult. One second. Oh no, I probably logged it out. Okay, anyway, it's a very bad thing, because again I have to log it in. Oh no. Anyway, so basically what I'm trying to say is, there is a session. Okay, you just go to the first session of NetApp. Okay, in that automation session. Okay, there you'll see I discussed about how your Python server, your control server, will communicate to NetApp using REST API process. How to send the request, how to receive the acknowledgement. So just go to that session. Okay, if you want to read ahead. Otherwise, I'll do that session. Okay, I'll do that session. Okay.
Just I'm asking, like.
You just go to the session. Okay, it is there. I have practically shown that how it works. When you go to the system manager, then right side you have an option like this kind of option will be redirection side, right? You have to click there. You'll get an API reference. There you can query the things. Let's say you want to query a volume which is having some kind of snapshot policy, right? So those things you can do, and it will give you a JSON body. It will give you a JSON body. So you'll be using all those things. Okay. So just use that. If I read ahead, right, like if I teach you like this, right, so I have to teach you like step 1, step 2, step 3. Otherwise it will be difficult. You may find these are useless, this what I'm teaching here, right, logical operators, but it will help you in the long run, because you'll be using variables, all the things, right? You have to know Python. So here,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So here a greater than 2. Okay, and let's say b is what, okay, let's say maybe less than 200 or 20. Okay, so how many things are given? Okay, 2 percent, right? Okay, so this will become true. Okay, this is true because both of these are correct, right? But if one of these is false, okay, if one of these is false, then it will become a false. Okay, but if you're using instead of and you're using or operator, then it will be correct. Why? Because it's meaning only one of these is correct, then it will be true. Okay, so like this. Okay, so these are logical operators. Okay, and the bitwise operator is, you don't require XOR, XNOR, because we're not doing any mathematical calculation. We don't require this. Okay, this is not required. Okay, now let us go into the more, let us go into the part which is much more important. Okay, much more important. Okay, so which is basically your flow control, your condition statement. Okay, once the condition statement is done, then we'll go into loops. Okay, it's very easy. It's the loop in Python is very similar to shell scripting. It's very similar. In shell scripting, when you do something, right, you have to use a dollar behind it, right? Variables on dollar, right? So here it's easy. Shell scripting was difficult. but this is very easy. Okay, let me just delete this, Control X. Okay, so we already shown you some examples of if, right? So what is basically the syntax? If, and then you have to give the condition, and then within this indentation, proper indentation, you have to give the code. Okay, like what code, what maybe if something, let's say if your age is greater than 18, you're able to vote, right? So if you're voting, then whom you're voting, or what, or maybe you got more than 90%, then you become a topper, right? So those kind of things you'll have. Okay, so we'll just start with a simple if statement. Later we'll cover the if with else and elif clauses. Okay, so the condition you see here, right? This is basically a boolean expression. Okay, so let's say volume, right? Let's say volume. Okay, let me give an integer input. Okay, input, let's say input is like enter the volume usage, something like this. Okay, enter the volume usage percentage. Okay, percentage. Okay, something like this. Okay, then if volume is greater than let's say 90%. Okay, if its volume is greater than 90%, yeah, just give me 1 second here. Okay, just give me 1 second. Hello. Okay, okay, just give me 1 minute here. Yeah, okay, I'm back. So if volume is greater than 90%, right? So if you leave 90% or something. Okay, and then you have to use this. Okay, so greater, yeah, I'm saying greater than, fine, that is okay. If volume greater than 90, I'm getting error here. This is an integer, fine. Okay, print need to delete old snapshots after checking volume is in backup, right? So volume is backed up by Commvault, then only you'll be thinking, to delete the snapshots, old snapshot, right? You want to delete. Okay, and if you just execute this command, it will ask you for the usage percentage. So let's say it is 94. Okay, you're saying need to delete the old snapshots after checking this, right? Again you execute the file, and then now it gives 67%, so it's not giving you anything, right? So you can also have another thing like an else block, and there you can have this, but indentation has to be proper, otherwise it will not work. Okay, nothing to do, or no action is required, right? No action is required. Okay, I just execute this. Sorry, what happened? Execute this. 56. Okay, no action is required because 56 is less than 90, right? So this is basically if statement, if and else statement, right? Okay, and here you see indentation, proper indentation. If you do any mistake in indentation, it will not work, the code will not work. Okay, you do this, you got see, right? You will see indentation error. Okay, okay, you got indentation, right? So here if you go to the debugger, okay, exception occur, you can see here. Okay, this is something else. Okay, so what you can do is if you execute this, you see indentation error. Okay, expected indented block after else statement. So after else statement, an indented block was expected, but we did not provide it. So that's why it threw an runtime error. Okay, so what you have to give? We have to give proper indentation. 1, 2, 3, 4. Even if you give 3, right, it's okay. It will work. It will work. Okay. It will work. You don't have to, but normally just try to give same space. Okay, because it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, except let's say you have a if block and inside you have a if block, then the indentation will be different. Okay, you have nested ifs, nested else, then the indentation will be different. Okay,
That indentation will work through tab, means
yes, it will
we
work.
have to put it.
No, it will work through tab also, no problem. If you give tab, then also it's fine. You don't have to give 4 spaces. You just give a tab. Where is my tab? I think this is my tab, right? Yeah. So this also work. Okay. So basically what you are getting, if condition and then the block of code, okay, block of code indented, and then you can have a else condition, okay, you can have another block of code, tab, block of code. Okay, so like this you can have. Okay, so this is if else statement. So you have a if statement and then you have a else clause or else statement, right? So when the if statement is basically false, then only the else statement will get executed. Okay, so you are able to run 2 different block of codes depending on whether if statement is true or not. Okay, so let me show you. Command A, then this. Okay, let me give an example. Let's say your age is, I'll give an integer input or be integer input. You can see, say your age. I'll give a little bit space. Age greater than equal to 18. You can vote, right? You can vote or do something. Print vote. Okay, else print no vote, something like this. Okay, enter this. It will ask you for your age. If they gave the age 45 or maybe 8, so it will give no vote. Okay, if they give the age as 67 or 79, you'll be able to vote, right? So this is something else. So this is if else statements. Okay, so during our automation in automation for NetApp, we'll be using if else statement, while statement, and also for loops. Okay, especially for loops. Let's say you have multiple volumes, okay, and you want to basically first check out what are the volumes, like which snapshot policy is there in which volumes, and then you want to basically apply some other snapshot policy for a volume. I had a situation where one of the DevOps volume, right, so one of the volume which was used by the OpenShift, I had to give a very low snapshot policy, like the retention, but where the retention period is much less, like maybe 2 days or 3 days data it is retaining. Okay, so I had to do that. Okay, so in those situations you want to apply some other, you want to change the snapshot policy for some other volume, right? Let's say 5 or 6 volume, then you can create a list or dictionary, normally a list for the number of volumes, okay, those volumes, and then you can use a for loop into the on that list and change the snapshot policy for those volumes. So you have to understand about the loops, okay, loops and different data types. So I hope you're able to understand this, right? These are very easy. This is nothing there. The thing that is difficult is lambda expression, list comprehension, generator, okay, object oriented programming, some part of file part. So these are difficult. Other things are very easy. Okay. So you got this if
you will cover about list and tuple as well.
yeah list tuple, yeah, I'll cover. Yeah, without list tuple you cannot do anything. This, see, I will take 10 sessions, at least 10 sessions of NetApp. Okay, and then we'll start our Python automation with NetApp. I'll cover each and everything, then I'll start. Okay, you'll be able to, you don't have to read anything else, but normally sometimes what happens, right? So let's say you are preparing for interview something, right? So you want to quickly read through something, so you can read in YouTube, right? So they are very fast, they will speak, right? So you can read there. Okay, so those things are very important, but don't read a book, Python book of more than 100 page or more than 150 page. Okay, it's not required. Like a 500 page, don't buy any Python hard copy or anything. You can buy small books from Kindle, it's okay. 200, 300, 500 rupees, it's okay. Like, but small books of 100 pages, 50 pages, 70 pages, not much. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you read, when you buy big books, right, you will not finish it, you will not be able to finish it, not like it. Okay, so we talked about an if else statement. Okay, now we can do one thing.
Here one more thing, age is act as a variable, right?
Yeah, age is a variable. Yes. Yeah, age is a variable, it's an integer variable. Yes, you can see here, right?
So like
Yeah.
in print, if I want to add additionally, like if I want to use format and print that your age is like age.
You
So
can do that.
how I can make?
Yeah, you can do like this: vote as your age is this, and then dot format. Are you getting any background noise, guys? Any background noise? No, right?
No.
Okay. Because I'm getting, so the thing is, not here, not from you guys. At somebody at ground floor, right? So they are shouting. Yeah. So what they do
I
is,
guess for you it's this thing disabled, right? That's why it's not.
oh, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Yeah. Because that person, he beat his wife, so his wife left him 3 years or 4 years ago, and he drinks every day and he beats his parents. I don't know. So something is there, and here we keep our mind, right? I'm like, we cannot get involved in anything. So dot format, and then you can have like age, right? Age.
Yes.
Okay, and you have to finish it. I have to this. If I have some, okay, I'm getting a thing, right? Oh, no, I'm not getting it. If you have some issue, you'll get a red color here. Okay, this very good thing about Spider, and Telesco learning the Nobin Reddy, right? He uses this Spider. It's good. It's not bad actually. It's fast also. In PyCharm it is very slow, but this is fast. You can also have variable explorer here. You'll be able to see the variables that I've created, right? The volume variable that I created, you see, right? So it is getting stored here, right? You'll be able to see here. Even the files that you have in this particular folder, it will show it here. Okay, and the date modified. So it's very good. So you enter this, you see, let's say I'm giving the age at 78, 89. It will show vote as the age is 89.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very, dot format is very important. Now let us go here. So we'll talk about if, elif, else. Okay, so you talked about if and else. So if else statement is there when you want to execute some two alternatives, right? But when you have more than two alternatives, you have to make choice between more than two alternatives, two volumes, two snapshot policies. Then you can use if, elif, and else statement. Okay, if, elif, and else statement. Okay, so after if you will give condition, okay, and then you have to give a indentation, and then you have to run, give the block of code. Okay, so let me show you. Let me just write that on your block of code. You have to write block of code inside if. Okay, and then you have to give your elif statement, elif, and then condition, what condition you want to run. Okay, and then you have to give your tab or 4 spaces, and then You can also use 3 in place indentation also, but try to make it same for the whole program. Okay, if you have nested loops, right? So if under if so this is basically a free teams. Okay, so this is basically free teams, so it get disconnected after 1 hour. Okay, it get disconnected after 1 hour, so you have to rejoin again. In Google Meet it didn't get disconnected, but there was some other problem in Google Meet, right? So nobody was able to allow the other person. Okay, so there was some problem. Yeah, so let me share the screen again. I think everyone joined, I think, probably. So let me share the screen again. This. Okay, so you have block of code, okay, for the elif, and then you can have multiple elif condition, okay, and then you have else, okay, and then you have the block of code here, okay, forward, okay. So let me just give an example. Let me execute this. So let me just control A, not control A, sorry, command A, and this, okay. So age equal to, let's say, I'll not give you like anything like integer anything. I'll just input something like enter your age. You have to mute. There's some background noise. 1 second. Let me mute everyone. It's a good feature. Initially, when I gave training, right, and I started the batch, right, in LAN Infra, I used to give using Google Meet, and the voice quality was very poor. It was very bad, very bad. So that's why you see some videos in LAN Infra, right? The voice quality is very low. You'll not be able to hear the sound without your headphones. Okay. So this is I've given this input, okay, but let's say I'll give you some, little bit space, otherwise it will show like little bit bad. Okay, 1 second, I'll give little bit space. Okay, so otherwise the variable, I mean the string and the input that will provide, right, it will show together, right? I don't want it. I want little bit space, right? And then what you can do is you can use if, elif and else blocks. So if age less than, let's say, 2, okay, so print not eligible for access, okay, something like this, not eligible for access, okay. And then after you have elif block, right, so elif, you can see, right, it is suggesting me, right, so age, okay, age, let's say greater than equal to 18, okay, so you'll get the access. Print you get access, something like this, okay. And then you have a else block, okay, so here you will deny the access, okay. Print deny access, okay. So if statement and a conditional statement, if statement and the conditional statement, right, and then you are indenting it, and then this is inside, this is the if block, and then you are going to the else statement, condition statement, this is the else keyword and the condition statement. You have to use this one, okay, colon here, okay, you have to use the colon, okay. If you don't use the colon, you'll get an error, okay. You have to use the colon. This is the syntax, okay. If I execute this command, I mean the file, your age, right, let's say 0, okay, so I'm getting error. Why I'm getting error, guys? Because whenever you are giving an input from your keyboard, it is always by default, it will always take a string. I told you, right, it will always take a string. So that's why you have to typecast this into an integer value, you have to typecast this into integer value. Okay, so that's, let me do that. Int. I think Anjan is having some problem with his internet. So now let me do this. Okay, now enter your age. Let's say it is 56. Okay, let me minimize. Let me just mute him. Okay, he's already muted. Okay. So you can see, right, enter age 56, you'll get access. Okay, let me execute this command again. I mean the file again, script again. Let's say 0, so not eligible for access. And let's say I give something like 7. Okay, 1 second, something like 6. Okay, so deny access, right? So it is working. So if it is less than 0, I mean less than 2, then you are not eligible. If it is greater than equal to 18, then you will get access. And if anything in between 2 and 18, then it will deny the access. Okay, so this is what you're getting, right? So this is if, elif and else statements. Okay,
So like I have one thing. So if else and else, so this is the sequence we have to write, or we can give any of the sequence like if else then elif or something.
No.
Or this is the or if else then else only we can give this kinds of sequence one.
Yeah, the reason why we use elif, if you have more things to do, then you use elif. But yes, this is the sequence you have to give. You can give others. I have not tried that one, but normally I have used if, elif and then else only. Okay, I have not tried using if and else. But if you have, let's say 2 things, you have 2 objects, you are comparing between 2 objects, then you will use only if and else. If you have more than that, you can have multiple elif statement, not only one. You can have 10, 15, you have multiple elif statement in between, multiple elif. You can have it, right? Okay, you can just try that one. You can just try doing this. Okay, but you have to understand that if can have multiple elif statements, but only one else clause. At the end, you will have only one else clause. Okay.
Okay.
And even without else clause also you can do. This is not mandatory. Having the else clause is not mandatory. Let me hash it out. Okay, and let me execute the script. Let's say your age is 78. You're seeing, right? I'm getting the thing, right? And let's say your age is, let's say 1. Okay, then I'll get not eligible for access. You see that else block is not mandatory. You can do with if and elif also. Okay, and you can also use nested if statements. Let me show that. Okay,
and what if you give 6 now as an input?
6, right? If you give 6, then obviously it will not do anything actually.
Okay.
1 second.
So elif is a if plus else, right? Is it something like with the name?
No. It's just a name. Okay, don't think about how the name came. It's just a name that the Python inventor created. Okay, the Python inventor, he created this. So it's just a name. And if you see the programmer, the famous programmer, right? They're all basically studied maths and computer science. They have studied both maths and computer science. All the famous programmers, whether Java or this one. Okay, so if you're talking, so anyway, so people want to learn AI or something, right? So they have to be good in math. It's not like they can just simply go and learn AI. And don't do course from some people who claim to be an IITian, and so don't do course from him. Okay, any course. So anyway, so let us talk about nested if statements. Okay, we need to talk about nested if statements. Nested if means if you have anyone studied matrix in their math in BTech or BSc or BCA, matrix.
Yeah.
Eichmann matrix and other matrix are there, right? So you'll have I, J values, right? Nested kind of things you'll have, like column, rows, many columns, many rows. Okay. So here also what you can do, I'll tell you one thing. When we basically print the output of a cluster for the NetApp, right? You'll get a very big data, which will be like dictionary of multiple different objects. So dictionary, and under dictionary you will have list, dictionary, and then under dictionary you have list. So you'll have nested data types when you just print the cluster option. Okay. So let me show you know what do you mean by nested. Okay, so basically you'll be able to include many if statement inside the other. Okay, this is like nested loops. Okay, so let's say I should not have control Z is working. Any idea? No. Command Z. It will work. Good. So let me just. So here everything is command here, right? In Mac. Okay. Let's listen to that is fine. I'm thinking the logic.
Basically, that is going within condition, multiple condition, right?
Yeah, that's right. But I'm just thinking the logic what to put. Let's put anything. Okay, let us just put anything. Let us just delete this thing. 1 second. Just delete it. Let's say this is less than 18, right? If age is less than 18, right? So this is a if statement. Okay, and then we have to give some condition statement here, right? I mean some other if statement, right? Let's say I'm just giving something randomly. A less than 0. Okay, I can give something here like some space. A less than this. Okay, just give me 1 second here. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So here you see this age, right? And then I'm giving just nested. So you can see here this is if statement, right? Inside indentation you are having another if statement. So this is basically under the if block only. Under the first if block you have another if block, right? So here I can give something like print something like age is less than 0. Okay, something like this. Okay, and you have one if statement, and then inside it if else also you can have, or elif you can have. So else, okay, print not right, something like this. Okay, I'll just and then you can have other else outside of that if, right? Print 1 second, grant access, something like this, or grant access, something like this. Okay, so here what you are having a e block, under e block you are having other e block. I'm doing mistake here. 1 second, just let me check what mistake I'm doing. A less than 0. What is happening? Oh, sorry, a is not defined, right? Age, it will be age. A is not defined, right? Okay, so if you're giving some variable which is not defined, then you'll get an error. Okay, not defined error. Okay, if I give a instead of age and execute this, I'll get an error. Okay, I'll put something but I'll get an error. If it is less than 0, -1. See, name error, a is not defined, right? So I'll just make it age and then execute the thing again, and now it is less than, let's say less than 9. Age is less than 0, right? And then let's say I want to define it like grant access, right? Less than 18, so more than 80, right? 67. You can see grant access. So if it is, and let's say it's not less than 0 but less than 18, which is like 5, then you'll get not, right? So when it is less than 0, then this is getting printed out. When it is greater than 0 but less than 18, this is getting printed out. When it is greater than 18, then this is getting printed out. You understand, right? So if this is true, it is going inside this if block, and then if this is true, then this is getting printed out, and if this is false, then this is getting printed out. And if this is false, this age is false, right? Then it is going to the else block and this is getting printed out. You understand, right? Guys,
Yep.
Yes, yes.
you will understand, right? Okay.
Yes.
And if all these statements are true, then everything will be going to print something like that. Just
All these statements is printed, but it cannot be, right? How can that all will be printed? Yeah, it will. Yeah, yeah. If all is true, it will be, but it won't be like this. You are using condition statement, so one, if one is not true, then other will be true, right? You're if you
Yeah.
want to print everything, then what you can do, you can just print here. Inside the same thing, you can just print here. You don't have to create alleles, right?
Only if condition not meeting, then it's going to else, right?
Yeah, yeah,
If it's making it, if it's a complete task for if and it's come out.
yeah. It will
If
not
not
go.
matching, then it's go for else.
Yes, yes. If it is not like this condition statement is false, then all it is going for the else. Otherwise, it's not going. Okay. So one thing you have to understand that depending on your program, you'll be using if else like this. Okay. It's not hard and fast rule, but this thing you have to know this, because these are basically condition statements. It's very easy. But let's say you are studying the same thing for C or C++, right? It's not going to be that easy. Or Java. In Java, the hello Java program itself is difficult. The first one itself is difficult. Okay, you have the same naming thing, encapsulation, superclass, method overloading, all the things, like the terminology is the same, but the program is much more complicated. But Python is very easy. Even Scala is difficult. Scala, this my brother uses, it's really difficult. But I feel that JavaScript and Python are very easy. Both are very easy. Ruby is also not that easy. Okay, but here if you see the if you search in Naukri for storage automation or info automation, right, you may find sometimes find Ruby programming, because they might be using Ruby in their project, like in the company, old Ruby code something, maybe that's why you might see Perl, but you cannot learn all, right? Just learn Python and Ansible, and later on if you're using cloud, you learn Terraform Kubernetes or OpenShift, and that is enough. One container, one cloud, one automation in cloud, that is enough. Okay, so you're becoming storage, backup, cloud specialist with automation skills. You're not becoming DevOps, but you are able to automate your cloud infra, storage infra, backup infra, and you're able to support them.
So when you are saying cloud, which component in cloud?
In Azure, like in any cloud, you go for the compute, you go for the storage, compute, storage, all, mainly these two things. Okay, and container, Kubernetes service, these three things you go. Okay, yeah. So this is okay. Okay, so tomorrow, not tomorrow, Tuesday, right? Tuesday we'll discuss about basically more things, on for loop, while loop, break and continue. Break and continue is very important. You sometimes, what you have to do, you have to use a statement which can break out of the loop, or maybe if something is, some condition statement is meeting, right, you want to continue the loop, right, you don't want to print that output. So these kind of things you have to use break and continue. And sometimes you have to use past statement. Why? Maybe you have some logic, maybe you are writing the code and you have not yet created the logic, so you just use the past statement there. Later point of time you'll create the logic. So this kind of thing is very helpful. Okay, so we'll talk about this, and after the flow control is over, then we'll be talking about data types: list, dictionary, tuple, set. These four data types we'll talk about, right? Okay. Okay, so we'll have the session on Tuesday. Okay, so any question before we wrap up for today? Any questions? And I was talking about W3 schools, right? So you go here, I think somebody is pinging. Okay, I will check that. Let me check what.
Yes, then I've gone through the W3 school. That is quite helpful.
Yeah, so you see, you go for W3 schools or anything, right? See, if somebody is
And yeah, undoubtedly it is better than PDFs.
yeah, somebody is doing data engineering, then they should learn Python SQL. We, as a automation, we learn Python and Ansible. Okay, so go to W3 schools, and here we'll get. Okay.
So here all it's talking about exercise, right?
No, 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 no. So let's say you go into we're talking about variables, right? 1 second. And we talked about, it's a little bit difficult to go. 1 second. Yeah, we're talking about if else, right? So you can see here if else. Okay. Yes, there, try it yourself. If you click on to try it yourself, it will go to your online browser, like online IDE. But it's okay, it's okay, it's just it will just go there. Okay, you'll just go to the executable editor. Okay, you just run here, you see this, it's getting run, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you are making some mistake, right? And this will not run, okay, because b is not greater than 0. Okay, so it will not, you'll not get any output. Okay, you can also get your own Python server. I think that will probably cost money, but yeah, you don't require your own Python server. Okay, you can see here it is giving the if statement, it is giving the indentation. Without indentation it is throwing an error. Okay, you see this indentation error, expect indented block, right? It is very easy, but you just have to learn again and again and again. That's it. It's very easy. But for us, we
Is
just
it mandatory to give four white spaces?
no. You can give 3 white space also, but normally there is a design standard in Python, the Pepe standard, right? So they talk about 4 spaces. That's it. You can give 3 spaces. You can give 3 spaces
Can we
also.
give
Like
one
no,
or two?
yeah, you can. Best like no, you have created a program in Python, and if I am going to work on that, so there has to be a standard, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
if
yes.
you are going for 3 and I'll go for 4, that will create confusion.
Yeah.
That's why it's defined like no, go for 4.
Yeah. Because there might be many people in your team who is writing the code, right, or who is involved in the particular code, right? So if you're using something like this, then it is easy to do. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you
Got
see
it.
here multiple if blocks, multiple statements. So that's what I'm talking about. So you're saying that you want to execute everything. So instead of having if else if, you can just have multiple blocks in your inside the if block. Okay, if statement. Okay, you can see here this is using a boolean variable. So if this is true, then only print out this. So if this is true, so if true means it will always go welcome back. It will always tell you welcome back. If you keep here false, then it will not come. Okay, if you give me welcome back, right? If you give me here false, okay, and you're running this, it will not come, nothing will come. It's just going here and there, but it will not come anything. Okay, so these things you learn, you can try it in nested if, logic operators, past past statement, all these things is showing, right? And all these things, right? It's very easy. The only thing that you'll find difficult is, okay, 1 second, it's not coming here, I don't know why. How do I go low? I mean, how do I?
But that slider is not reflected.
Yeah. Here. So oop, right? So this is the one which is difficult. This one is difficult, and regex is not much required. Sometimes you may require. JSON also you need to know, okay? And modules also you need to know. You need to know how to create your own modules, okay? How you need to create your own modules, okay? Let's say you want to do something in Python. You want to create a volume, so you'll basically import some modules from the classes, like volume module. Okay, so you have to import something, so which you'll be using for your program. So you have to know what is a module. Okay, and then string formatting. So this is the dot format that I talked about, right? Dot format. Okay, there is something else also there. Instead of dot format, you have this is also, this will also work. Okay, if instead of dot format, if will also work like this. Okay, and if you give 2m means 2 decimal places, so this will also work, but normally you can give dot format. Okay, and then a lot of things I'll discuss about this. I'll go one by one. Okay, so tomorrow I'll start with for loop, while loop, break and continue, past statements, and then I'll go into the list tuple and all these things, data types.
Okay. And going further, you are using a spider only as a writer.
Yeah, it's I really like it. Yeah, I like this spider one. Like I'm getting some Visual Studio.
Can you give a quick session, probably 5 minutes or whatever, to set this spider, how to work on
Yeah. We can do this. We can stop the session. And is it possible to for you to? Are you logged in from laptop?
Yeah, I have. Yes.
Or is your laptop is like personal laptop or office laptop?
Oh, it's office laptop.
Oh no, then we cannot record the
I
session.
can.
Yeah.
I am allowed to install this.
Okay, we'll share the session. Let us share the session. You can share your screen, but I will stop the recording. Okay.
Okay.
1 second. I think this is the option.